Hello lovely people. Today, as well as painting one of the new Caldarian guards, the ones who wear the new Caldarian blue rather than the Caldarian red, we will also be doing a paint guide on light armour. I'll also do one on heavy armour and just normal clothed characters as well. So we'll make like a peasant or something, or like a player character in that one. But as well as explaining how I paint, I will also be giving a bit of explanation about the characters. So for this one, I'll tell a bit about this character. First thing I do is this grey on Hero Forge. You'll probably find if you have other model using apps, I know there are a few really great ones. It's called Iron. You'll find one like it somewhere, I'm sure. But what I do is I colour in all the parts that are like smaller parts. Some parts are smaller parts, some parts larger parts, like the chainmail up there. But mostly the smaller parts, and later, as you'll see in like maybe a second or so, I make it a bit darker because I don't like it being bright. After I've made it darker, I also turn down the roughness because I don't like how dull it looks. And then of course I go over with this weathered iron, I think, but I don't like how it looks almost exactly the same. So I'm going to turn down the iron a bit more to give it a bit of contrast. I don't like that area at the back, it makes it look like it's bold, which I don't really want for this character, although you might want it for other types of characters. I'll change that there. And of course we don't want two colours touching at some parts because I don't know why, it just makes me feel all weird, I don't like it. So we're just going to change that there. Here, as I'm just doing basic normal painting, not really changing much here, just doing iron, I'll just give a bit of explanation. So, these characters are like just the normal knights of this new, knights of this new group, this new army. They're just the ones that the Lord Protector will just throw at enemies over and over and over and over again, because they're just easy to mow down, but they're cheap to like make the armour for, so. Now, after I've made sure I think I've coloured as much leather items as I want or need, I add the slightly lighter leather, and usually I go on to the roughness, and what I do is I turn it down, but I'm like, that's not usually what I do. So I go on to that and I go into cog, I turn down the mid, turn down the high and turn up the low, turn up the high, down the mid and up the low, and it just helps add a bit of contrast. It makes it look more shiny like leather actually is, and here I am just correcting a few mistakes. And now, of course, the colour you've all been wondering what it looks like, I presume, if you care. The Caldarian blue. I believe I used a darker one before, but I like it being quite light now. So, not that light. The colour wheel thing is a bit messy sometimes. But yeah, about that colour. And I just put it in some places so you can recognise that they are definitely from the new army. But it's not just always just all blue in your face. I want it to be darker, more saturated colours with a few areas that are blue, but the areas that are blue are quite large, so you can quite clearly see that it's blue. Now, there is the main models colouring about done, and I'm just going to start adding the gear. So just looking around, I do spend a while looking for this part, so if you want to skip maybe a minute, because I just basically look through basically all of these. Only takes about a minute though. I'm just trying to find the perfect one which would work for this character. Yet again, I apologise for the ridiculous amount of time I'm spending looking for this one. Eventually I do settle on one that I've already chosen. If I did know how to speed this part of the video up and only this part of the video up, I would. But unfortunately I don't, sorry. And oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, but after ages of trying to pick, I finally found one that works. I quite like this. It works quite well. So, no. Oh, I accidentally clicked on the website, which I'm not doing a free promotion, so let's just blur that out. It's just like a website that this Hero Forge collaborated with, and I don't want to do free promotion. If they paid me, I'd do it. But I'm not getting sponsored. A back piece as well, which will blend in to that neck piece there to make it look like it's part of the same one. So we'll just paint it blue as well in a minute. And shield. Do I want a shield? Yes, I do. This one has fabric, so it could work perfectly well for the blue aesthetic as well. And we're going to do blue on both sides here, and of course blue on the actual shield. Here we are going over this part here with the leather because it works well and it looks like a good handle. I'm not a big fan of the pose though, because it's just a generic pose, that's never good. So let's just change it up a bit. This one looks nice. Don't know how I feel about it. This one, it is very basic, but it's a knight, and it's not like a strong knight. It's just a random knight that like you throw over and over again the enemies. So, and of course here we have to pose the cape, which I do in a second, but first I just have to pose the Now, finally, once we've done these arms, we should be able to start doing the cape. Just need to move these a bit because I want to get it in a way where the cape can naturally flow without it being too obstructed, but make it look natural, you know, like not forced, not like he's lifting his shield up, just so his cape won't go through it. So onto the cape. Now I know it's clipping now, but it will look better in a second, trust me. Sometimes you have to get a part of it clipping, get it unclipped in a second and make it look better. Here you see how it looks quite natural. It doesn't look like there's much wind blowing on it. So yeah, and there it looks good enough as if it's part of there, in my opinion. And I think that's the model about finished. Well, at least it would be finished if I didn't really want to fix up the posing to make it look more natural and less like a statue, and also add a few extra little bits and pieces around the model to make it look more fresh, to make it look more like it's an actual knight than just some dude in armour. Here we're just choosing some sort of extra weapon, but all these, like the swords, it looked too big, especially for a guy who already has a massive two-sided spear, which is strange considering he's a non-heavy armoured one, but I guess it can be kind of used just like a little sword. We're looking for the knives now. These ones work really well. Some of them are too big and chunky though. So we use this one. That looks good. I don't like the blade though. This one's one of my favourites. The only problem with it, I still use it, but the only problem with it is that wrap around thing to keep it secure to his belt is a bit large, and I personally would change that. To keep along with the theme of my entire D&D campaign, not just this model, you're going to paint it some dark silvers, and it's just occurred to me that these two, both different levers, look a bit too similar, which is kind of frustrating, but it's a bit late to change that now. I'm just going to change the face a bit because I don't look like how he looks like he's looking off to the distance. Now he looks like he's about to start a rap battle. I don't really like that, but oh well, I guess. We're just going to change his eyes to make him look more, I don't know, maybe angry. You can do that in a face modifier thing, but that doesn't change it in the way I want. I want him to look like sleepy, angry, tired, angry. Maybe like he's been walking for a while, for example. And now I think finally that's the model done, and onto the floor, which will be just some random road in Calderia, I guess. We'll use this colour here. I think it works quite well, with a few slightly darker bricks, because I don't know why, with some mossy stone in between it to add some depth. And of course, because it's my model, we need to have this on the outside. I do that on every single one of my models. I'm not sure why though. And that's the model about done. And this is your flash warning whilst I take a quick screenshot of the model so I can make a character art for it. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.